a great piece of advice that I got, which is a difficult piece of advice, happiness has to come from within. The message we get from the consumption culture is that happiness is external to us and that we have to buy it or consume it in order to bring it into our being. And that is completely false. That is the false promise. And that's why people are not satisfied by this culture. That's why people aren't happy in general, when they buy things. And it's why I think in big measure, people, have you read, we have a loneliness epidemic, all these things. People are trying to purchase happiness, and they're trying to consume it and bring it in, instead of realizing that happiness is already inside of us. But we have to look for it, realize it, like have enough awareness to see that it's there in the midst of the difficulty and the struggle that we face in life. This is something that when I heard it, I didn't believe it. And I would say it's something that I'm personally still working on. I really think it's true, though. Happiness is inside us. And so when we create a culture, a different type of culture, a microculture, right, within this culture that recognizes that, I think that'd be a big step in helping us actually be happier, yes, and healthier. So another big area that is sold on consumption culture is like, you keep consuming is the way to health, okay? And this is, what we're trying to do on this channel is push back against that. Say no. Here's the line. You don't consume your way in general to better health. With maybe some caveats with healthy food, because eating healthy food, maybe that is the one way to consume your way to health. Having healthy food is maybe the very most important decision that we make. And then maybe a decision to have a fasting space is number 2 behind that, like to bring things into balance. But everything else, I'd say, think about the marketing, think about the culture. Everyone is trying to sell you health. This is just like happiness, right? People trying to sell you the idea that happiness is outside of you and you have to buy it to bring it in. No, happiness is inside, okay? People trying to sell you the idea that health is also external to you. That if you don't buy our product or do our thing, okay, you have to purchase and consume health to bring it in. No, health is in here, right? A human being is a healthy being, right? And so we need to, just like we're looking for happiness inside, and then we allow it to come out, right? We need to find that health inside of us to the greatest extent that we can. And that's a big way to push back against this idea of like consuming health. That idea is not really taking us in a better direction. I think about, there's tremendous value in the healthcare system. I don't want to be like, I want to be balanced. I love the healthcare system, right? You don't find an MRI scanner out in the woods, right? You need to, what a valuable thing. And think of all the technology. I think it's all great. I'm not opposed to technology. But we have to put it in its place, right? An ideal healthcare system would be one in which it helps the people who are connected to it need an MRI scanner the least, right? So, like, I'm happy that we have MRI scanner, right? I'm happy that we have trauma surgeons and everything, right? But like, we want to utilize those products and services absolutely as little as possible. Like, I'm happy that we have 1,000 different drugs to treat 1,000 different things. But this is a culture that needs, those types of things, right? We have cultures in the past that don't need so much of that. So we say, well, this whole sort of idea, health is external and you consume it, it's not working. I mean, this whole system is not working. And I think if we recognize that health can be cultural, like this seems obvious to me now that, I'm really seeing it, but it doesn't seem to be a part of our collective medical experience, that health is cultural. We are in this culture, right? This is the broader thing. This is what I was getting into in that talk on about how we have labeled everybody diseased with obesity, and we judge people. This is where I've come to see through that the average person in medicine is really liking this idea, because they say, oh, when we call obesity a disease, then it's less stigmatizing. People don't have to feel bad about it. I think the opposite. Increasingly, I think the opposite. We come to see what is happening is that the body is not broken, that there are natural processes running in the body, and this is not so much anybody's fault as the fact that we're in a consumption culture. There's never been a culture like this. The human being is not, designed, evolved, created, whatever, to function in this sort of environment. We're all trying to sort it out, right? And so how do you navigate a culture, an environment that supports making all the wrong decisions as far as how the body's physiologically working? The body's like, oh, this is not making sense, right? There's highly processed foods here. We don't need so much of that. What do we do with it? Like, there's more energy than we need. Well, I don't know. Maybe the famine is going to strike next year, and maybe we'll be better off taking the gamble to hang on to it. This has been the calculation that has served humanity well as long as there have been people, right? And it's like, this has worked, okay, for millennia, like right up until the present moment. And now all of a sudden it's like, whoa, like uncomprehensible abundance is everywhere, more energy coming into the system. The body's like, well, we'll tuck this away for later. Like, it's not really body doesn't know anything else to do other than that. And so now we can start to see, okay, we are putting our bodies in a difficult situation in this culture. A thoughtful culture will start to try to change that. Lots of people trying to change that. Say, we need to focus, we need to dial out all the processed food, focus on getting core healthy nutrition, give the body space. So you say, oh, I see how the body is working. Okay. We need to give the body space. We need to allow the body to use the energy within us. Okay. Okay. Just like happiness is inside us already, health is within us. The ability to lose weight, okay, is also within us, because the weight we want to lose is the energy that we use to power our body. It's already there. And so I think of the whole weight loss industry, right? What does a weight loss industry do? It sells you products, right? The whole weight loss industry itself, this is what is so crazy, is a part of consumption culture, right? It's selling more and more products to help you lose weight. Oh, you want to lose weight? Buy my supplement, right? Take my $1,000 drug, which I'm not criticizing anyone for doing it. Do it. If it helps you, it's fine. But just think of the cycle of it, right? Eat my special food product. All this is bringing it in. When I want to see all this stuff resides inside of us, right? Already. There would be a really powerful mindset. Weight loss is inside of myself already, right? It's already here. It's in your body. It's in your mind. It's in the thought process, right? Everything that we do in our life it starts with a thought, right? Everywhere we go, everything we eat or buy, it starts with thinking. So the new thought, right, is the weight loss thought, right? It's to recognize is already within me. I don't need to look externally for it. I don't need to buy it. Actually, the process of saying no to things is how you draw the line and turn that focus internally to actually access it, right? To recognize the power within the body, that you are strong, powerful, capable. You have everything that you need already within you, nothing to buy. That's why I changed over this branding. I like it for simple fasting. Lose weight for free. That is the core of it, right? Fasting is free. Fasting is the alternative to consumption culture, right? It's fasting culture, right? Which I would boil down to contentment culture. The broader The narrow focus, okay, simple fasting is like help someone lose weight for free. Beautiful. The broader scope of it is help someone find contentment in their life. Consumption culture sell us on the idea you can't be content without consuming. A fasting culture says I am content right now and I don't need anything else, right? Happiness comes from within. Health is coming from within. The energy that I need in large measure is already inside of me.